All right, everybody, welcome back. We're diving deep today. Going to be looking at Virtualogic, a company doing some pretty interesting stuff for small and medium businesses, SMEs.
Yeah.
Especially for dealing with supply chain problems.
Interchain, yeah.
Which, everyone's got them.
Everybody does.
So we're looking at intro to virtualogic.pdf today.
Okay.
And, we're just going to, see what they're all about and why you should care about it as a business owner or someone interested in this kind of world.
Absolutely. And I think, we hear a lot about these big companies optimizing their supply chains, using all this fancy technology.
Right.
But for a lot of small to medium businesses, that stuff just not feasible. Yeah. They don't have the resources, the budget for it. And that's where Virtualogic, I think, really comes in.
Yeah. And what really kind of stuck out to me from reading about them was how easy they make it sound. Nobody wants to have to rip out all their existing systems and start from scratch.
No.
And Virtualogic is like plug and play, like almost instant upgrade for your...
Absolutely.
Say.
And it's really key that they don't require you to buy a bunch of new hardware.
Right.
Because that's a huge barrier for a lot of these smaller companies.
Yeah, absolutely.
The cost of that alone can be prohibitive.
So speaking of easy and accessible, like they also are leaning pretty heavily on AI.
Yes.
For a lot of their a lot of what they do, and it's not just like we slapped an AI sticker on it,
right? Kind
of thing. It seems like
no, it's really integrated into the core of the platform.
Yeah.
So, for example, they have these AI-powered features for demand forecasting, inventory optimization, and logistics planning.
Yeah, and how does that actually work? Like, what's a
good example?
So, imagine you're a small furniture retailer, right?
Okay.
You've got some seasonal swings in demand. Virtualogic's AI can look at your past sales data, look at seasonal trends, even look at external factors.
Like what?
Like new housing starts.
Okay.
And it can start to predict, okay, when are those peak seasons going to hit?
Right.
When are you going to need to stock up on certain items? And when can you maybe afford to have a little bit less inventory?
So that you're not like overflowing in your warehouse or something.
Exactly. So it helps them avoid those stockouts during peak seasons and also avoid having too much inventory sitting around.
That's huge for especially for a small business because, every dollar counts.
Absolutely.
Every square foot of space counts.
That's a great point.
Yeah. So it's almost like having, a chess player thinking several moves ahead.
Yes. For your business.
That's a great analogy.
It's anticipating those things.
Yeah. And it's proactive, right? It's not waiting for the problem to happen.
Right.
It's trying to get ahead of it.
And speaking of getting ahead of things, like they also talk a lot about visibility, real-time visibility.
Yes.
In the supply chain.
Transparency.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Which I think we've all had the experience of ordering something and just having no idea where it is.
Radio silence.
Yeah, exactly. It's just...
is it on a boat?
Right.
Is it in a warehouse?
It's never coming.
Who knows?
Right? And it's so frustrating.
It is. And it can really damage your relationships with your customers.
Totally. And with Virtualogic, what they're talking about is you can basically see like where everything is in real time.
That's right.
So you know if there's a delay.
You can see where the bottlenecks are. You can see if there are any potential issues.
And you can be proactive about it.
And you can communicate that to your customers.
Yeah, that's huge.
Which is huge, because it builds trust. It builds confidence.
So you know what's going on. Your customers know what's going on. Everyone's
on the same page.
But what happens when your business grows?
Yeah.
Like, does Virtualogic grow with you?
That's a really good question, and that's one of the things that impressed me about the platform is that it's designed to scale.
Okay.
So as your business grows, Virtualogic can grow with you.
So you don't have to
you don't hit a wall.
Yeah.
You don't have to rip everything out and start over.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's really important for businesses that
that have ambitions to grow. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, that's good to know because that's always a concern I think for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm gonna invest in this system, but then is it gonna like hold me back down the road.
Right.
So that's great. But I gotta say, like, I do get a little intimidated sometimes with like really complex software, especially, for someone who's not like a tech wizard.
Sure.
How easy is this to actually use,
Well, and that's one of the things that they really emphasize is user experience.
Okay.
So they try to make the interface as intuitive as possible.
Okay.
And even things that are traditionally very complicated in supply chain software.
Like what?
Like creating a purchase order, for example. It can be this really multi-step, confusing process in a lot of systems, but with virtual logic, it's very streamlined.
Right.
It's a few clicks.
Okay.
Everything's laid out very clearly.
So you don't have to be like a software engineer to carry it out.
No, it's designed for the average user.
That's good.
Who maybe doesn't have a deep technical background.
Yeah, I mean most small businesses don't have like a dedicated IT team.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a big plus.
Yeah. Accessibility is key.
Right. And they also talk a lot about their values, which, every company has their values. But I feel like they really highlighted it in a way that made me think like they actually like care about this stuff.
Well, and I think it goes beyond just, lip service to these values. They're really baked into the platform.
Yeah. So what are some of their like core values that they talk about?
So they talk about innovation, obviously, integrity, customer centricity, sustainability, and collaboration.
And so how does that actually translate to what they do?
Well, I think, sustainability is a great example. A lot of companies are talking about sustainability these days. But Virtual Logic actually has features built into the platform that help businesses be more sustainable.
Okay, like what?
So, for example, they can help you optimize your delivery routes.
Okay.
So you're using less fuel. They can help you connect with ethical and sustainable suppliers.
Okay.
So you're sourcing your products responsibly.
Interesting. So it's not just, like a feel-good thing. It's actually like...
It's built into the functionality of the system.
Yeah. It's helping you make those choices.
It's making it easier for businesses to make those choices.
And I think it all boils down to, what they say their mission is, which is really to empower SMEs.
Empowerment, exactly.
Yeah.
Give them the tools they need to succeed.
And by giving them the tools, it's making their supply chain better.
More efficient.
More efficient.
More sustainable.
More sustainable, more everything.
Yeah.
And they make the point that, a good supply chain isn't just a luxury.
It's not a nice to have.
Yeah.
It's a must have.
It's essential.
It's a necessity.
Especially in today's world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess what I would ask you to think about is, how could this kind of approach of using data and technology and AI and all that. How could that change?
Transform your business.
Your business.
Yeah.
Or a business that you're familiar with.
Think about the possibilities.
Yeah, that's something to chew on, I think.
Absolutely.
So that's all the time we have for today's deep dive on Virtual Logic.
Great discussion.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on and
my pleasure.
Sharing your insights.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. And we'll catch you all in the next one.
See you next time.